Pokemon fans are doing quite well for themselves. Sure, the mainline games have been dropping in quality lately, but the side projects have been really fun and interesting. And of course, the series is one of the most represented in Smash Bros., either second to or surpassing the Mario franchise, depending if you count the trainers Pokemon individually. Despite this, there's one Pokemon I would like to see in Smash, and funnily enough, it's not even one of my favorites. Hell, Serperior isn't even in my top 5 favorite grass starters, and I doubt it cracked the top half of my favorite Gen 5 designs, though those are admittedly stacked categories. So if I don't like Serperior, why do I want it in Smash? Is it because we're lacking a Gen 5 rep and a fully evolved grass starter and this would address both? Well, no, but those are bonuses. I want to see Serperior in Smash simply because I'm curious how they'd make it work. Despite having a character named Snake, there are no Serpentine characters in Smash, or to my knowledge any fighting game. Editor's note. I have since learned about Slither, the playable Rattlesnake character from 1995's Eternal Champions Challenge from the Dark Side. This is sick as hell, and as far as I can tell, the only example of what I'm talking about. However, he is considerably smaller than Serperior, and since Eternal Champions is a traditional fighter, there are issues Serperior would have that Slither didn't. However, I'd be remiss not to acknowledge him here, now that I know that this type of fighter has been made at least once before. This body type would be challenging to incorporate into one of these games, especially in a platform fighter like Smash, where you can't always rely on having your torso in between the opponent and your massive tail hurt box. I mean, think about it. A character like Serperior is effectively twice as wide as heavyweights like Bowser when their tail is extended. We've had a character with tail troubles in Smash before, but never to this extent. Smash is no stranger to odd body types. One of my favorite new fighters is Piranha Plant, simply because they had to get really creative with how to make it work as a playable character. In this vein, I decided to challenge myself. Could I make a character with this inherently flawed body type work in Smash? Here's what I came up with. First, I want to lay out how I approached making a Serperior moveset. Obviously, Serperior isn't just limited to its snake-like body. As a grass-type Pokemon, it has access to plant-based attacks. But since Smash already has a grass Pokemon fighter in Ivysaur, I'll be trying to avoid similar grass-type attacks. This also allows me to focus more on incorporating Serperior snake-like elements into its moves, which is what inspired me to make this moveset. However, one element I won't be incorporating are biting attacks. Despite snakes being well known in real life for their potent bites, the Serperior line has not had access to even basic biting attacks like Bite or Crunch in any Pokemon generation. This may have been done to put it more in line with Pythons, which focus on crushing prey between their coils, but whatever the case may be, I've decided to avoid biting moves in my moveset. That's enough about what I won't be doing. Let's go over what direction I will be taking Serperior in. Serperior would have the largest playable character model ever seen in Smash. As mentioned, this makes it a massive target, but it also means it has impressive reach on even its melee attacks. It's like Dulcine, but instead of stretching his arms out, he keeps them draped behind him. I could see Serperior outranging even some sword attacks with its normals. These factors, its large body and long-range moves, would lend it to a more defensive game plan, keeping the opponent away with its large hitboxes and getting punished hard when it fails to do so. We've seen time and time again that big characters need to play defensively, or else have such good rewards for getting in that it honestly feels unfair. I'd rather deal with campy Serperior than grappler Serperior, but regardless, it isn't going to be too fun playing against it. This does also line up with Serperior's more defensively oriented stat distribution, but that's more of a happy coincidence than a factor. Lord knows Smash takes Pokemon stats with a grain of salt when turning these characters into fighters. The last thing I want to go over before discussing Serperior's moves is its stance. Don't worry, I'm not turning into a stance character. I think we can save that for another time. I just mean, how does Serperior stand in its idle animation? The first thought would be to have its tail mostly or fully extended, but then that might look weird if it stands too close to a ledge. Even turning around might look jumpy with how quickly the tip of its tail would need to whip from one side to the other. Not to mention, this leaves it extremely vulnerable to attacks directed at its tail. So then do we leave Serperior coiled up like a rattlesnake? Well, that solves the issues mentioned for an extended tail stance, but it makes the transitions between its idle animation and any action jumpy, as Serperior would need to extend its body, move, and then retreat into a coil in a very short period of time. Plus, Serperior is rarely ever shown posed like this. Side note, if you like me wanted to see if there were any moments in the games or anime with Serperior in this pose, I'd avoid googling Serperior coil, unless you're a fan of softcore bestiality erotica. There is one stance which combines the strengths of these two options though, letting Serperior drape its body to the Z-axis. For those unfamiliar with the term Z-axis, Smash is a 3D game, played like a 2D game. The player can move left and right, up and down, but not towards and away from the screen. But since everything is 3D modeled, that area still exists and can have gameplay implications. The two most infamous examples come from Melee, where Yoshi's dash grab and Roy's dash attack both have their hitboxes active when the move is behind most fighters on the Z-axis, making them difficult to connect. Outside of moves like these, this area is usually safe from smaller hitboxes, as they need to target the area in front of them, and aren't wide enough to hit this area. So if we put Serperior's tail in here, we can effectively reduce its hitbox while standing, and make Serperior smaller for a bit. This also lets it curl its tail, and thus prevent it from looking off when turning, while allowing smoother transitions from its idle animation to its run, jump, moves, etc. Alright, we just spent all that time positioning Serperior's big dumb tail. Let's use it in some attacks. Jab is a bit restrained with it. The first hit is a quick headbutt, followed by a poke from the tail, ending with Serperior swinging its head to knock the opponent away. This is one of the quickest moves Serperior has, but it's also one of the stubbiest. The same cannot be said for its forward tilt, where Serperior curls its torso to bring its tail up before sending it straight forward. Like other forward tilts, this move can be angled up or down, and can even hit some characters hanging on the ledge. Another move which can pressure opponents in the corner is down tilt, a quick tail swipe in front of Serperior. This move is surprisingly fast for its range, allowing Serperior to space out grounded opponents. Should they try to jump in, Serperior can punish them with its up tilt, where it pokes its tail up in front of it. This move is ineffective against grounded opponents in front of it, but it will have a sour spot hitbox as the tail moves forward, to give Serperior some protection against opponents who are behind it. For some variety, dash attack is another head bash, this time having Serperior bow its head down before slamming it upwards. This is a fairly quick dash attack, but it has a noticeable amount of end lag, meaning opponents who dodge or shield it can punish Serperior for overextending. Moving on to the smash attacks, Serperior has a powerful up smash inspired by Frenzy Plant. Serperior leans down before rearing its head back, unleashing a powerful swarm of roots around it. This is similar in strength and startup to Lucas's up smash, but while that one makes Lucas partially invulnerable, I will be exchanging that for a wider blast radius. This makes it worse against grounded opponents as they can now easily interrupt the move, but now it becomes an even better anti-air. This also makes it pretty bad as an out of shield option. I'm doing this intentionally. I'm sick of smash zoners having better disadvantage options than the rest of the cast. If you're going to play keep away, you shouldn't be allowed to punish the opponent for getting in. Serperior's forward smash seems simple at first. Based on the move Aerial Ace, Serperior reels back before hitting the opponents with a downwards head bash, followed by a launching upwards hit. However, this move has Serperior move back a considerable distance. We've seen this on characters like Sonic and Mario, but never to this extent. This motion can be used to prevent Serperior from being hit by an incoming attack, and then punish their whiff with a powerful forward smash. Lastly, Serperior's down smash is based on Grassy Glide. It quickly circles the area where it was standing, hitting opponents on either side of it. This move covers a wide area, but it doesn't extend much further than where Serperior was standing, so it feels noticeably stubbier than its other moves. Moving on to the aerials, we have a lot more tail attacks to talk about, so let's start with something else. For its neutral air, Serperior twirls its body, sending leaves out from all over, which damage nearby opponents. Its forward air swipes its tail in an arc, similar to Marth and half the other sword fighters. Its back air is unique in that it doesn't require the tail to travel to the front to hit, so I decided to have some fun with this one. Serperior coils its torso up before launching its tail behind it like a spring. This would be one of the longest range back airs in the game, possibly even longer than the Belmonts. While back air doesn't need to move the tail into position, I decided to do the opposite for down air. Serperior brings its tail in front and over its head before slamming it down onto the opponent. Not only is this a potent spike, but the motion can allow Serperior to bring its tail out of the way of incoming attacks, and if it lands before its tail extends again, it can start to defend itself. Lastly, Serperior's up air has it loop upwards, using its whole body to strike at opponents above it. The hitbox always stays at the top of the move, meaning Serperior is vulnerable to attacks from below while using it. So far, Serperior has impressive melee range to let it contest close range characters, but how does it deal with far away opponents? That's where its special moves come in, most notably its neutral special, Leaf Tornado. This is a fairly large, extremely slow projectile, which both knocks opponents up and away and reflects other projectiles. Given the minimal distance it travels, it's more like a wall than a standard projectile, though since it's also a projectile, it too can be reflected. There's a slight cooldown period after a Leaf Tornado disappears, where Serperior cannot create a new one in order to prevent spamming. Additionally, the move has considerable ending lag once the tornado has been formed. Should the opponent predict the tornado, they can preemptively jump over where it will spawn and punish Serperior. Serperior can act while the tornado is active though, so if they mistime their approach, it can knock them away with a tilt or an up smash. Serperior can also punish approaching opponents with its down special, Glare. While Serperior can only get Glare via breeding, its paralyzing stare is a prominent aspect of its Pokédex entries. This move is similar to an existing move, Mewtwo's Disable, however there are a few factors separating them. While Mewtwo's move makes grounded opponents dizzy and deals minor knockback to airborne opponents, Serperior's attack will deal electric stun damage to both grounded and airborne targets. Due to the lower reward for landing this move compared to Disable, it will also have slightly better range, though it will keep Disable's drawback of only affecting characters facing towards the user. While this electric stun is far less dangerous than the Dizzy stun, it should still leave opponents stunned just long enough for Serperior to hit them with a move like down tilt or forward air, though they'll be launched away regardless. Serperior can go on the offensive with its side special, Coil. In Pokemon, this move boosts the user's stats, but here I'll be using it as a command grab. Serperior tenses up before leaping forward, wrapping the target in its coils on hit. It will then use Giga Drain on the target, recovering around 4 to 5% before launching the opponent upwards. This move has considerable startup and is pretty reactable, however it can catch nearby opponents holding their shield, either anticipating a tilt or trying to wait out Leaf Tornado. Lastly, Serperior's up special is Trailblaze. This move works slightly differently when grounded than when in the air. Off stage, Serperior tightens its body before springing forward, carrying its whole body diagonally upwards. When used on the ground, Serperior will coil up and shoot just its head forward, quickly retreating after the attack like a real-life snake. This version can be angled to either hit higher or hit closer to the ground. This changes yet again to limit Serperior's out-of-shield options to prevent it from escaping when the opponent managed to corner it. Now that we've covered the special moves, there's just a few more things to go over to flesh out Serperior's moveset, starting with Grab. At first, I thought we might need to reuse Ivysaur's Vine Whip grab here. Those of you who have seen a snake before might be thinking, why not have it grab opponents in its coils? I agree that this is a better fit for the character, however I thought it might cause issues for Serperior's pivot grab animation. How is Serperior supposed to run with its tail behind it, turn around, and reach its tail in front of it quickly and fluidly? However, I then realized Serperior could have the best pivot grab animation simply by not making it turn around, at least not fully. By having it turn its head and upper torso around while it curls its tail towards it, we can give Serperior a very tricky pivot grab, reaching much further than many other grabs. With this in mind, here's what I thought of for the actual throws. For its back throw, it simply whips its tail behind it, flinging the opponent. Given how long Serperior is when extended, this lets its back throw kill deceptively far from the ledge, akin to Ken's Hellwheel throw. For its forward throw, Serperior unleashes a whirlwind of leaves similar to the animation for Grass Pledge, which blows the opponent away. For up throw, we'll again be using Grass Pledge, however the gale forms around the opponent and launches them upwards like the wind hazards on Hyrule Castle. And for its down throw, Serperior slams its tail down, bashing the opponent and launching them off the ground. The last move to cover is its final smash. This was a bit tricky, as most of the Pokemon in Smash either have a super form or a signature move to use here. Serperior has neither, although you'd think Leaf Storm was its signature move based on how rarely you see one without the other. With that said, a giant swarm of leaves hitting all opponents in front of it sounds like a decent final smash, but I figure we should give it a little extra oomph by combining it with Terastallization. Specifically, having Serperior turn into the Stellar Terra type from the Indigo Disc DLC, and shoot out rapid-fire Terra Blast with the Leaf Storm orbiting around them. It may seem weird to give a Gen 5 Pokemon a move referencing a Gen 9 mechanic, but given that the Stellar Terra type was first discovered during the part of the DLC set off the coast of Unova, I think there was enough there to justify it. Not to mention, this DLC also marked the return of Serperior to Scarlet and Violet, and it has been one of the biggest users of Stellar Terra in competitive battles. That's it for the moveset, but what would Serperior's alternate skins look like? Historically, Pokemon in Smash haven't had the best costumes, usually just adding a hat or other accessory to them. However, this has steadily improved over the years, with Incineroar even able to use its shiny colors. I don't know why that's the exception and not the rule, but whatever. It means Serperior's shiny is on the table for one of its alternate skins. It's far from the worst shiny in the series, even if it's nothing mind-blowing, and the blue pattern should make it instantly distinct from the normal color even in the middle of gameplay. Outside of that, Serperior could either go the Lucario route and not change much for each other's skins, or it could be more like Greninja and Incineroar and get weird with it. Obviously, I prefer the latter. You could just give it any colors you think are cool, though I'd like to see an orange costume with black patterns and a blue costume with cream patterns to reference its fellow Unova starters, Emboar and Samurott. Outside of that, you could give it a black and white skin to reference the games it originated in, a light blue and navy blue costume as a reference to the original Team Plasma outfit, a Hydreigon-inspired costume with blue skin instead of white like the others, and let's just throw in one where the light green and the dark green swap. Pokemon skins are generally free to use whatever colors the Pokemon Company allows them to have in Smash, so these are just a handful of options. Similarly, Pokemon are pretty flexible with what they're allowed to do with taunts and victory animations, so like its skins, I'll be providing these as examples, instead of things that I think it would need to have. For its up taunt, I picture it fanning the leaves on its neck outwards as it looks up, as though it's taking in sunlight like its Pokedex entries say. For its side taunt, it can bring its tail up to its face and fan itself, driving home its pompous and royal design. For down taunt, I see it lowering its head and curling its torso around it, before sticking its head out like a jack-in-the-box. For its first windscreen, Serperior slithers from behind the camera to the screen, before rising up and staring down the camera. For its second windscreen, it lays down and curls up before starting to nap. And for its final windscreen, it fires a swarm of leaves from all around it, holding that power pose for the rest of the windscreen. Serperior is from a series that already has plenty of stages in music and Smash, so I won't add much here, but I will take this moment to bring up something very tangentially related. Put Poké music in Smash. Bamco literally developed both. Just let me put on Magikarp Festival if every competitive match is going to take place on PS2 anyways. I don't expect Serperior to be a popular fan request for Smash. Admittedly, it's far from the first Pokemon I'd want to see get in. Even with the inevitable Unova remakes coming soon, and Serperior's likely inclusion in Legend ZA, including a Pokemon from 4 generations ago, likely to be 5 or 6 by the time the next Smash game is underway, would be a bit silly. That being said, I hope I've shown you the potential a character like Serperior has to push the limits of what can work in Smash. Who knows, maybe if Smash included a weirdo design like Serperior, we'd stop getting new starters who look like they were made to be Smash fighters. If you made it this far, thank you. I'll be working on more videos like this, so feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my takes on potential fighters. And also check out We Name Our Plants, the channel where my girlfriend and I upload gaming videos. Anyways, that'll do it for me. I'll see you next time, hopefully with a more conventional character moveset.